We have a guest in the studio with us right now, Christian Anderson, not Hans Christian Andersen. He's your
professor of higher education and director of the Museum of Education.
And you're one of the archivists here at the university, right? Well,
professor, historian, and director of the museum. But I use the archives all the time here.
Yeah, and one of the things that the reason you and I got connected was because of the WUSC alumni group turning over a whole bunch of documents and scrapbooks and stuff over to the where was it?
The South Caroliniana Library Archives. Yeah.
So, and of course we've been talking a lot about offline, you and I, about WUSC back in the day and the history of WUSC and all that. It's kind of an interesting. You might actually know the answer to this question. So, a question I often ask, and the people are a little surprised: is what station in South Carolina has been under the same ownership the longest?
Well, I would guess it'd be WUSC.
It would be because of the university, the old AM station, now the FM station. So,
right.
And of course, with the way broadcasting has changed around the last few years with all the mergers and acquisitions and stuff like that, it's all changed. So what exactly do you do in your capacity?
So I'm a historian of higher education. I look at the history of higher education, how higher education has developed over time. And I do it on a variety of different things relevant to what we're all involved in right now. I did a book on the history of college football, what got me interested in the history of WUSC is I reviewed a book for a journal on the history of college radio called Live from the Underground by Kate Jewell.
What a great book that is.
It's a fantastic book.
Yeah.
And so I thought, well, okay, what she obviously couldn't discuss every college radio station. There's 1,200 of them or 1,500. But I thought, I wonder what the history of WUSC is. So I started digging into it, and they had just obtained the scrapbooks. I looked at those. I looked at stuff from the yearbooks and from the Gamecock. Luckily, those are all digitized and easy to look at. And we've got a pretty interesting history here. Yeah,
it was actually started, the club that runs the organization was founded in 1946.
Right.
And it was a result of an FCC decree that they wanted to try to develop people into broadcasting,
right,
particularly radio. So they created these carrier current radio stations and campuses all over the country, and that's where it got started.
Well, and the first, the students then wanted to have a class to learn how to do this, and the English department, of all places, created a class on college radio, and, kind of just took off from there.
The initial studio, do you know where that was?
The very first broadcast, as far as I can tell, was from Drayton Hall, which is in Wardlaw College, where I am. And then it moved over onto the Horseshoe into the former slave quarters,
exactly,
behind the president's house. And then at some point it was in Rutledge. I haven't marked out the whole timeline of all these places, but it's bounced around a little bit.
And then when Russell House was built, they moved across Green Street.
Yeah, I knew that it moved over here once, but so I don't know if it was in the slave quarters, former slave quarters, all the way up until Russell House was built, or if it was in Rutledge for some period in there. But
I don't have any real provenance on that, but that's what I've been told.
Yeah.
So, that's my understanding. I know that I first got involved with the station in 1963, and November 8th, 1963 was my first radio show. And at that time, as it is now, Russell House closes at 11. You have to get everybody out. So what they used to do was tape the new DJs would tape a show in the afternoon and they'd play back that night. So it was the Night Owl Show. So I was sitting in my dorm and listening to my own show. So that was kind of a weird experience.
Well, also it only extended to in the earliest days, it only extended to the dorms. And then when it became an FM station, then it broadcast throughout the city. But in the 40s and 50s, it was only available on campus.
Yeah. The original frequency, I believe, was 91.9, if I remember correctly. And that was because the university, the School of Journalism, was operating an FM station at 10 watts. And it's out of the building that's on the corner of, Sumter and College Streets. On the northwest corner, I forget the name of that building, but that's where it was. I know that because I used to walk past it when I was walking from my honeycomb dorm room to the Cornell Arms where COS was, and when I was working for COS in 65 and 66 and all the way through the 69. But it was kind of an interesting experience. There was a lot of interest, and of course, a lot of us don't remember, but I mean, it was very big. There was a news department at the station. As a matter of fact, the news department actually covered Robert F. Kennedy's speech in the spring of 1963.
Right.
And I recently put up on my Facebook, and I think you made a comment about that picture with the WSC flag and that really strange-looking microphone that wasn't supposed to be a podium mic. It was supposed to be a distance mic to pick up things, but that was what we had, so we used back in those days.
Well, in those early days, they had they had faculty on, they had faculty programming, they had a quiz show where they would stump the professor. They broadcast lectures. Even live sporting events. Yeah,
we still have faculty doing shows here. As a matter of fact, Tom Hughes does a show on Bob Dylan, and he teaches a class on Dylan, and he brings his students in, and they discuss with his students. It's called the Green Frog Cafe. I think it's on Tuesday nights, if I'm not mistaken. But he does that, and we have, of course, a couple of other professors occasionally do shows around here. One of the interesting experiences I had was the Monday after the war started in Ukraine. I think it started on a Thursday or Friday, but the Monday after, Tom walked into the studio, and he was up here with a bunch of people doing something with the honors program. He had a professor from Kharkiv.
Oh, wow.
That was actually, I said, get that guy in here. So we actually had the opportunity to talk to somebody who was closely related to the Ukraine side of that issue on the air 3 days after the war started.
Wow.
Hopefully they're coming to a close on all that right now.
Let's hope.
So thank you for dropping by, and he and I are going to go have lunch, if you must know. We don't know if we're going to do it here or if we're going to go someplace else. We'll find out, but anyhow. So that gives me an opportunity to get into our next song here, which is a song